Yo, Dream Team, it's your boy Neal back with another reaction video. Here we are with Andrew Tate defends himself against Piers Morgan. I know Andrew Tate is a very hated man, and Andrew Tate is a very loved man. Me personally, I have no feelings towards Andrew Tate. Some of the stuff he says makes sense. Some of the stuff he says I don't agree with personally, but I mean, two people can have different perspectives. That's fine. I don't hate him for his opinions. I just don't agree with some of them. But some stuff makes sense. But I'm intrigued at what Piers Morgan finna try to say about him. And before we dive into this, I need you to dive into that subscribe button, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You don't subscribe to any of it, but all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Shoot, man. I talk back. You got a favorite video suggestion, subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. What we got, Andrew?
Andrew Tate's the most famous man you've probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have.
The most famous man you probably never heard of. That's oh, I guess I don't know what audience he has. I was gonna say it's hard to be famous and not heard of, but he's talking to his audience, my bad.
Andrew Tate's the most famous man you've probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have videos of Tate. They've been viewed billions of times online. He's built an enormous following, and mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world. Views like this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
True. Tate's opinions on mental illness are...
That is true. I do not think. I'm sure they didn't. They didn't play the whole clip. I'm sure what they do. I've noticed a lot of people like take small clips of his interviews or small clips of what he's saying, and so it's taken out of context, so you can't see like the full story. If that's the full story, then of course I don't agree with that. Anybody's property like that. I don't believe that. But I don't know what the rest he said to justify that point of view. The father, it's true, the father does walk his daughter down the aisle to give away to the husband. But I don't think that, no, there's no owning people out here.
And gives her away. True or false?
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
Well, this summer every major social media...
I mean, of course, depression, like people have depression. But he's saying if he don't believe in depression, a lot of people don't believe in a lot of things. All he said was him personally does not believe in depression. Him. You know what I'm saying? The world knows like depression is a medical condition. Like that's understandable. But him.
Power by believing in them.
Well, this summer every major social media
I see why he make a lot of people mad.
Amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people who watch him. But copies of his videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come.
Give it to me.
Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking you?
That is a loaded. That is a loaded. There's some 18 or 19-year-olds that look better than some 25-year-olds. There's some 25-year-olds that look better than 18 or 19-year-olds.
That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking you?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
say... For
the
benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
That would, well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny.
No, it's not.
Being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
I do not agree with what Piers. I don't. That's not misogynist. That's just. That's like. That's like saying like if a woman had a preference, like if she preferred men over 6 foot and she thought they're more attractive than men under 6 foot, then she's misogynist against men under 6 foot. That you just have a preference and you think what you think. That Piers is reaching on that one. Piers is definitely reaching for on that one. People have preferences. That's basically what he was saying. That he's saying it's more desirable because they've been through less men, because they've talked to less men. Less men have been with them, so I guess they're more youthful and innocent in a way. And so to him, he said that they're more desirable. If you don't, you cannot agree with them and still understand his perspective. There's such thing. Okay,
We can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny.
No, it's not.
Being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying that age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, than ageist, perhaps, but misogynistic, absolutely
Is that
not.
but you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
If a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments, would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's your...
Bro, why is this a talking point right now? Why are we arguing about this right now? I can't understand this. I can't. He said that 18 and 19-year-olds are more desirable than 25-year-olds. And he says, well, that's if a 25, 26-year-old is watching this right now, how do you think that makes them feel? Like, what are we talking about here? What? Piers. I'm just not getting it, bro. I'm like, because if a man, if a woman says she likes a man under 6 foot, my feeling, or she likes men over 6 foot, my feelings are not hurt. I'm not saying you need to apologize for not liking me. Like, what? What? Keep it going. Oh, dang, I didn't mean to click that. Bro, this interview is funny. I'm enjoying this. And this is just a preview. I can't wait for the full one. Okay. Piers, keep talking.
Mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for women that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
What are you, Piers? He's not talking about these parts of the world where women are. How did that even come up in the discussion, in the conversation? You're saying once you hit 26 years old, these women are not allowed out the house, but at 18 and 19, they're free to go in these certain parts of the world. What is he talking? I don't understand what he's talking about right now. I'm sorry.
The world for women that you.
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
You're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where...
You don't think it's fine?
The reason
Piers like, I ain't even gonna let you talk, cuz. I ain't even gonna let you talk. Bro, Piers, Piers, you are not proving any kind of point right now. I'm sorry I keep pausing it, bro. I just can't help but laugh, bro. He's wild.
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where...
You don't think it's fine?
He just asked him. He basically went from you preferring 18 and 19-year-olds that are saying that they're more desirable to, do you think it's okay that these 26-year-old women are not allowed to come out the house? Are not allowed to do anything? Do you think it's okay in these parts of the world? Huh?
Question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where...
You don't think it's fine?
The reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
that doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable...
Is that a truth, then?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression and become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That is very sad. I hate to see any young person lose their life like that. That just sucks, because it's like you had so much life to live. You had, and I just hate. I hate for any, not, and I just said young people, but I hate for anyone to lose their life like before it's their time. I can't take that.
Started as depression and become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father.
That's terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the
is.
first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is... The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
But I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's an acceptance. Not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognised and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility.
Facts.
I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
I gotta see this whole interview, bro. I have to see this entire interview. I don't know when it's dropping, but Piers, your discussion with him, I don't know, your points made no sense. You were like all over the place with your points. It was like, I don't understand how this turned into that. Like, maybe I need to see the full interview for context. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. Y'all tell me, am I tripping, or is that how y'all heard it too? Maybe I am tripping. I don't think I am, but before we end, if you got a favorite video suggestion, subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media and Patreon all up top. You don't subscribe to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Human. I talk back. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible. Team on YouTube. It's your boy D Neal. Out.